You tapping in real quick, something light, nothing major. Peace and blessings and all that. You know what I'm talking about? We just fitting to sit here and chop it up for a few minutes for what it's worth about this last fight card of the year that's fitting to take place a little later on this evening. You know what I'm talking about? And we going to do it from right here today, man. Rocky relaxing. Raya, she relaxing. Zeus, he outside. It's cold out that motherfucker, but he a purebred Siberian Husky. He love it. He built for this shit. Me, Rocky, Raya, not so much so. We need to stay warm. You know what I'm talking about? But let's go ahead and chop it up, man. I don't have my line up in front of me as far as the order of the fights and or any of my other scribblings. So we just gonna go off the top with it, you know what I mean? And it is what it is for what it's worth. I'm gonna fire this one up and we gonna burn it down, man. I had put this Mark Wahlberg joint on, The Infinite or whatever. I never watched it. I never got around to watching it, you know, when it dropped a couple years ago or whenever. And, you know, I decided to pop that thing on the screen this morning while I burnt one down and, you know, fell back with the scraps for a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? That motherfucking sun, that light, that lighting, whatever you want to call it. I'm moving at certain angles, boy, and it put a blur right on my face, don't it? Huh? Let's dive into it though, man. Women's MMA. Tread lightly on both matchups in my personal opinion. You know what I'm talking about? Especially Jamie Lynn and Miranda, man. Jamie Lynn looked absolutely massive on the scales. You know what I mean? I knew she was going to have a height and a reach advantage. And when I saw her on the scale, then I saw Miranda on the scale, I couldn't wait for the ceremonial weigh-in so I could see them sized up at 4 o'clock. And boy, oh boy, it was a significant size difference. The height, the reach, the body width, the frame. I think she's going to be a bit more difficult to get hands on and control than individuals, you know, might be believing. You know what I mean? Miranda might have she might be a bit problematic for Miranda. You know what I'm talking about? We already talked about the youth advantage she has and the advantage that she has of facing a higher level of opposition as of yet. But she had that youth advantage and that advantage of facing a higher level of opposition as of yet when she was going to fight the last Canadian that she was favored to beat and lost to, and that was Jasmine. Now, Jasmine's not Jamie Lynn. One thing has nothing to do with the other, but it's all worth consideration. Jamie Lynn does possess, you know, a fairly decent wrestling and she does possess fairly decent wrestling and grappling, offensive and defensive abilities. You know what I'm talking about? She's fairly decent in that department. And if we're being honest, Miranda has only beaten one individual as of yet that is fairly decent in that department, the wrestling, the grappling, and the jiu-jitsu, and that's Jillian Roberson. That's a good win for her. But everybody else that she's beaten, with all due respect, she's been able to implement her body of work on. She's been able to impose her will on. It's when she's met resistance in those departments against the Jasmines, against the Macy's, against the other individuals that have got the best of her. They showed her resistance in those departments because they also like to implement an all-around body of work, which they were able to do, and they stopped her from being able to do, and they were able to edge her out. Also, Miranda's a bit Ronda Rousey-esque, with all due respect, in the aspect that she falls apart a little bit when things don't go her way. Now, I'm talking about when she meets that resistance and things are not going according to the game plan and they're not going the way she wants. They're starting to go left a little bit. She starts to fall apart, man. I don't know if it's spiritually, emotionally, mentally. I don't know what's going on, but you can see it. It's evident, you know what I'm talking about, and the more it goes on and the more resistance she meets, the more she falls apart. You understand what I'm saying to you? And the more you're able to pull away as far as producing a better body of work. It is what it is, man. It's women's MMA and it's question marks, man. So it should not be involved in any main plays, main bets, or main parlays in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Miranda may come out there, justify the price tag, ragdoll this motherfucking young woman, show her that there's levels to this shit. I just do not necessarily believe that to be the case, and I cannot see it. So I can't confidently get behind it while she is the pick. Tread lightly, man. And you know, while Josephine didn't look that good on the scale, she seemed to look just fine at the ceremonial weigh-in. She came out on the scale, hair all over the place. You know, she's got that Hamzat Chimaev frame, the torso, the way she's built, her physical frame. Like, she looks like a little female Hamzat, the way she walks and carries herself. You know what I'm talking about? Go back and watch her walk up onto the stage. Take her shirt off and get on the scale and then walk over to face up and get in old girl's face and tell me she doesn't remind you of Hamzat. You know what I'm saying? You'd be a fucking liar to say she doesn't. Her frame, her torso, her fit, like her whole physical frame. Everything about her and the way she moves is like a little Hamzat. You know what I'm talking about? Now, Rodriguez looked to be a fucking in peak shape. She looked to be a bit more of a powerhouse, a bit more physically imposing, is what I mean by that. So the wrestling and grappling exchanges might be won based off of, you know, them both having a solid offensive and decent defensive wrestling and grappling for the most part. I think Piera's got the edge in that department. It's and definitely the edge in the jiu-jitsu department. And I think that extra bit of strength, because she looked to be a bit more physically imposing. Like Josephine is, you know, she's stacked for her, you know, her weight class, and you know, she's all muscle. It's her frame. She's just built like Hamzat, you know what I mean? Rodriguez is a bit thicker. She looks to be a bit more physically imposing. She looks to be a bit more stronger. It's to be determined. I'm just worried for Josephine that, you know, Rodriguez will win those wrestling and grappling exchanges, which means she will get Josephine down to the ground, have Josephine on her back, and you know, rolling around, trying to survive and defend submissions, possibly getting put in compromisable positions and losing this one via split majority or unanimous decision. I would not be surprised if both of these underdog females came through in some way, shape, form, or fashion, man. But that's just me. You know what I'm talking about? Now, somebody that I really liked on the scale, somebody that I've really liked his whole fight camp. Anybody who's been tapped into the channel knows I really like Miles Johns anyway. You know what I'm talking about? Philippe's the pick, you know what I mean? But as I said, with extreme caution, man, Miles looked good, man. Miles is dialed in. It's undeniably, you know, incomparable as far as resumes are concerned. It's undeniable that Miles has faced a higher level of opposition, has beaten a higher level of opposition, and may very, very well prove to be in his own right the higher level of opposition later on tonight. You know what I'm talking about? This is going to be a good fight. It's about, what, 1.2, 1.3% body fat between the two of these motherfuckers, man? I mean, come on. Both of them shredded. Something's telling me we're going to get a Miles Johns finish, though, with all due respect to Philippe Lima, and he's the pick. He was my pick. I just don't do no pick switching, so I properly prepare for being on the wrong side of certain picks as far as parlay placement is concerned, and Miles Johns is an individual that I have very much so done that with. I like everything about the way where his mindset is, his mentality, where he is spiritually, emotionally, physically. He seems to be in peak shape. You know what I'm talking about? This is prime time Miles Johns. Like, this might be, we might really see the best Miles Johns we've ever seen, and that might lead, you know, some to believe, as I do, that this is Miles Johns truly entering his peak. Like, we are going to see the best Miles Johns we've ever seen, while on the other side with Philippe, he's still coming in to his own. He still has some learning curves. He still has some speed bumps, some potholes, some possible roadblocks, and some lessons to learn. And one of those lessons may very well get learned later on this evening by Miles Johns. Miles Johns might learn that young man something. Huh? He might learn him something, man. I'm telling you, watch the fuck out, man. He looks dialed in, and everything inside is telling me we might get a Miles Johns finish. Like, he might just rip him with a nasty hook and just, boop, drop this young man. They can both crack. They both proven to be durable as of yet. They both proven that they can be dangerous, solid, well-rounded. One just at a higher level. It is what it is, man. I like everything about, you know, I tap into the social medias everywhere so I can try to get a read on how individuals are taking the fight camp, how lightly or not lightly they're taking their opponent, their opposition. I feel like Philippe might be overlooking and looking past and sleeping on Miles just a bit as individuals have in the past. And, you know, I've been on Miles over here, man, to do what Miles does. While he's not that exciting and he's, you know, low volume, he tends to make his fights not that exciting, slow his opposition down as well, bringing their volume down relatively low as well, if not as low as his. Not a significant difference in the, you know, not a significant big difference in the amount of strikes landed and put out between the two. And then he implements an all-around body of work that slightly edges his opponents out. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that one later on this evening, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he knocked Philippe the fuck out, man. Everything's telling me Miles Johns is going to, you know, rock this young man's world and not necessarily shock a bunch of people, but put motherfuckers on notice, because I don't think anybody's ever really been put on notice as far as Miles Johns is concerned. And Miles Johns is great. Turn the temperature up and start putting motherfuckers on notice, in my personal opinion. I like how he looked, man. You know what I mean? I like the mentality. I like his head space, where he's at spiritually, where he's at emotionally. You know, physically, he's in peak condition. Everything's good with the fam. You know, he's missing, you know, his kids' birthdays. It's all types of things going on. You know what I mean? And he's just still in good spirits and ready to rock. And I think we gonna get an absolute banger in that fucking fight, man. You know what I'm talking about? Fernando versus Sean. You know, it is what it is. You feel like applying a swap out option, go ahead. I have on a ticket or two, but I'm still confident in Sean, man. I think Sean gets it done, man. I think Sean gets it done 2 rounds to 1. You know what I'm talking about? I wouldn't be surprised if Sean found a finish just based off of maybe possibly going into the third round up, you know, 2 rounds, or going into the third round, 1 round apiece, and Fernando comes out a bit too aggressive and a bit too reckless, searching for the finish, and gets clipped and finished in his own right, or clipped and hopped on and submitted in his own right. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a finish in this fight from either side, but I like Sean, man. I like Sean, man. And you can't deny that win over Youssef Zalal, you know, that win over Youssef Zalal via decision or whatever it was, that's a good fucking win, man. That's a good win. I know a lot of people were kind of low on Sean based off of that St. Louis card, you know what I mean, where all of the St. Louis homies pretty much came through, including Sean, but a lot of people felt like Sean didn't come through. They felt like he fumbled the bag. They felt like Alex Caceres got the best of him, and rightfully so, understandably so. I can get it. I watched the fucking fight. You know what I'm talking about? I had St. Louis parlays and all that in. You know what I'm talking about? But I believe that was the card where I was hitting motherfuckers with 3 pieces and sides and all type, you know, swap out options for the sides and all types of shit. You know what I mean? But so I know people aren't necessarily that high on him. And people know Fernando can crack. Fernando's dangerous. He's solid. He's well-rounded. If he catches you slipping, he can sink into submission. They got a similar opponent in common, Julian Erosa, my guy. You know what I'm talking about? If I'm not mistaken, he got Sean, and Fernando got him. He caught him, he clipped him, he disconnected him relatively quickly, too, because he's got pop like that. He's dangerous. He can do that. But I don't know, man. To be determined. I think that one's going to be a banger. I think if it goes 15 minutes, it could possibly be in contention for fight of the night, but I don't think so. I think, you know, that fight and the Miles Johns and Philippe fight is going to be relatively the same. You know what I'm talking about? One side in Philippe And then Fernando, one might like to believe that side is a bit more dangerous. Absolutely anywhere that the fight might take place. While on the other side with Miles and Sean, one might like to think that that side is the more technical practitioner of the side, the more sharp as far as the IQ. Not going to take so many risks. Not going to really put themselves out there, but it's going to, go about the fight, intelligently and do what needs to be done to edge it out, man. It is what it is. And if the finish presents itself, they'll take it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, man, tread lightly on these fights. I like Miles, man. I like everything about Miles. While Philippe's the pick, I like Miles, man. And I'm properly preparing for that pick to be on the wrong side of that pick as far as parlay placement is concerned, and just with the dog play at plus 205 on Miles. You know what I mean? Without getting greedy and not doing a parlay. Give me that dog leg. Just give me 205. I'm going to do something with that. Then I'll do something with swap out options as far as that leg is concerned with that plus 205 to boost shit through the roof. And I don't have to put nothing but a sprinkle on it because that 205 is going to boost shit through the roof. You know what I'm talking about? And Sean and Fernando, I like Sean, man. I like Sean via unanimous decision. So, in the method section over there in props, whatever that's sitting for, that's probably a solid bet. You know what I mean? But I like Sean, man. Could Fernando get it done? Possibly, but I don't think he's going to get it done, man. I don't think he's going to get it done. He got it done over Julian, you know what I mean? And what happened with Julian and Sean happened with Julian and Sean. One thing has nothing to do with the other. It's all worth consideration. It does show you that Fernando can catch anybody at any given time and, get the job done. But for some reason, the judges like Sean. No matter where he seems to go, no matter where he seems to fight, they seem to like that young man. And I don't think that's going to change tonight. So as long as he doesn't get finished, I think it's Sean's fight, man. You know what I'm talking about? Davey and Ramon. Davey look good, man. Davey look good as Davey does. They, with that weird, he got that weird shape, don't he? He come out his shirt and he don't give a fuck about nothing. You know what I mean? It's like rib cage come out for and this come his back. Yeah, he built funny, but he make it work. You know what I'm talking about? He make it work. He can crack. You know what I mean? He can crack. He's a submission threat. He's dangerous. He's solid. He's well-rounded. And regardless of how anybody feels about it, the hometown bull, because I believe Raymond is the hometown bull, he's up against it. This is a test. You know what I'm talking about? Jonathan Martinez thought it, wasn't going to be. And he got caught and clipped. You know what I mean? It shows you that this man can catch and clip and disconnect you from your consciousness at any given time. He can also hop on you for the submission. He's solid, man. He's well-rounded. He's not, Sighty, who old boy lost to, and then old boy got the dub over. He's not other boy that old boy fought. You know what I'm talking about? He's not anybody that Raymond has ever fought. This is the highest level of opposition that Raymond has ever been in a position to fight. You know what I'm talking about? He's never had to share any cage for any promotion anywhere with the level of opposition that Davey Grant is. And is what it is, man. You got to tread lightly. You have to tread lightly because you have one who looks good, who has, looked good for what it's worth up against who he's looked good up against. And then you have another one who's also looked good for what it's worth, who he's looked good up against. And there's no names on Raymond's resume for what it's worth, like a Jonathan Martinez or some of the other names that Davies beat, or even some of the names that Davies lost to. You understand what I'm saying to you? Raymond has not had to face that kind of opposition as of yet. He's going to face it later on this evening, and we're going to see where he shakes out as far as that's concerned. But got to tread lightly, man. Because Davey could crack him and hop on him for the cut. I could see Davey hitting him. Boom! You know what I'm talking about? Backing him up, possibly hitting him and dropping him. And when Raymond tries to get up, just hopping on that motherfucking neck, pulling guard while they're dry, no blood, no sweat, and just locking in a submission. He can club and sub him. He can clip him. He can decision him. You know what I'm talking about? Whether or not Raymond can decision Davy is to be determined. We know he can crack him. We know he could probably club and sub him if he cracked him in the, you know what I mean? Davy was in the, you know, right position. If the right situation presented itself when he cracked him, he could probably club and sub him. I don't know how dangerous Raymond is on the ground or in the jiu-jitsu department. So I can't necessarily say that we know he could club and sub him or we know he could submit him. We know Davy can submit a motherfucker. We know Davy can club and sub a motherfucker. And we know Davy can knock a motherfucker out at this level. We don't know that about Raymond. We know he could probably knock a motherfucker out if he catches him cleanly. He could clip and disconnect him. But the rest is to be determined. You know what I mean? So it's really like, you might want to look at that fight. Like, how the fuck does Raymond win this fight without finding the finish inside the distance? Because Davy's solid. Davy's well-rounded. Davy's battle-tested. Davy's been proven at this level. We know his ceiling inside the UFC, and we know the level of opposition that he's proven to be determined on the other side. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I like Manel. I think Bruno's a bit, you know, it's crazy because they're at 125, right? Like, they need a 115 division for Bruno to be physically imposing. Like, he can crack. Don't get it fucked up. He can crack. And if he catches clips, if he catches anybody cleanly in this division and possibly a division above, he could probably disconnect them from their consciousness. But that's if he catches you cleanly. He's at a reach disadvantage. He's at a height disadvantage. He's at a speed disadvantage. He's not at a power disadvantage. He's at a, you know, an experience disadvantage for what it's worth. You know what I'm talking about? And Manel just might prove to be too much for him, man. He might get Bruno out of there inside the distance via KO, TKO. Something vicious, you know what I mean? So I like Manel, man. You know what I mean? I like Manel. Ottman and Michael. Tread lightly, man. I still like Ott, man. I still like Ottman. I still like Ott. Man, you know what I'm talking about? I still like Ottman, man. It's my guy. I'm fucking with him, man. I'm fucking with him. You know what I mean? Now, to be determined after this fight if Mike disconnects him and puts out his lights. You know what I mean? But I'm fucking with him right now. You know what I mean? I don't even know if I got Mike in a parlay. I might got Mike in a parlay. I might got Mike in one all favorites type of parlay situation. You know what I mean? I might not, but I might. And if I don't, I might need to, huh? But hold on, Zoo. I got you. Here I come, Scrap. Yeah. I like Ottman, man. You know what I'm talking about? I like him, man. I like him to get the job done. I get it. He's coming off of, you know, 2 KO, TKO losses, man. He's 2-2 in his 4-fight run inside the UFC as of yet. You know what I'm talking about? 2 KO, TKO wins, 2 KO, TKO losses. You know what I mean? But in my personal opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, both Francisco Pride, however you say old boy's name, he could knock Mike the fuck out too right now in 2024. You know what I'm talking about? He could have knocked him out when he fought Ottman. You know what I mean? Last year, whatever it was, when Ottman got knocked the fuck out, he could have knocked Mike out then too. And the steamroller, he could knock anybody out in the division below, in the division he's in, and in the division above if he catches them clean with a head kick, shin to the chin, or a 1-2, or a hook. You know what I'm talking about? Frevola can crack. So the fact that he suffered them 2 KO, TKO losses, man, and he's coming off of them, that doesn't move me to think that Mike's necessarily the side. Ottman's 4-4 in the UFC. 2-2 in the UFC in his 4-fight run. You know what I'm talking about? Mike is 14-15 in his 29-fight run. You know what I mean? He is 4-6 in his last 10 fights. You know what I'm talking about? Losing decisions to Jamie Malarkey and Clay Guida. You know what I'm talking about? While you're winning a split or whatever decision over a Darius Flowers, who, if we're being honest, does not belong in the UFC's promotion. And prior to winning, your decision over Darius Flowers, with who all due respect does not belong in a UFC promotion, you were knocked the fuck out by Diego. You understand what I'm saying to you? And you went like nothing about Mike's. Come on, man. He's got maybe three, something like that. Good wins on his resume. Like, we got to give him to Dustin Poirier. He caught Dustin Poirier, way back when he caught Dustin Poirier. That was years ago now. Years ago now. But he caught Dustin. It shows you that Mike can crack. Mike is fast. Mike has speed. Mike has a nice 1-2. Mike still operates off the old style for the most part, where he likes to start with a kick, end with a kick. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, he'll start with that inside kick. He'll pep, and he'll hit you with a head kick. You know what I'm talking about? Like, Mike's solid. Mike's well-rounded. You know what I'm talking about? But, Ottman's solid. Ottman's well-rounded, man. They both proven to be fucking dangerous. But nothing about Mike's body of work, or lack thereof, that he's been able to produce over the course of his 29 fight run in the UFC, that is 14-15, which has seen him, knock out a few people and get like 9 decisions, get knocked out by a few people, get submitted by a few more people, and decisioned by people. Like, nothing about Michael Johnson's resume, nothing about Michael Johnson's body of work, or lack thereof, sometimes moves me to believe that he's the side in this matchup and he should be favored the way that he is. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, man. Is it because he's with Kill Cliff? I said it in the one thing. I mean, this is Michael Johnson we're talking about. And this is also Michael Johnson we're talking about in 2024. You understand what I'm saying to you? Is it because we're talking about Michael Johnson 2024 and Kill Cliff? And because Kill Cliff has been doing some things as of lately, everybody wants to jump on Michael Johnson at 41 years old, who's been able to produce the body of work, or lack thereof, that Michael Johnson at 41-year-old has been able to produce. But everybody wants to shit on Cub Swanson at 41 years old and run with Billy Q. Huh? Man, get the fuck up out of here, man. Come on, man. Come on. Oh, Cub 41, man. Cub did Cub. Mike 41. Mike still got speed. Mike gonna do this. Mike gonna do that. Mike gonna knock him the fuck out. Woo, 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 woo. Cub 41, man. I don't know about Cub. Get the fuck out of here, man. Huh? Come on, man. Mike been punched on, kicked on, cracked on, choked out. Man, he's weathered so much more than a Cub fucking Swanson. Come on, man. Cub been in some bangers, but Cub ain't been submitted and knocked the fuck out and handled the way Mike's been handled over his career. You know what I'm talking about? But everybody want to shit on a 41-year-old Cub, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Mike is 41 years old too, and he might be a couple months older or a couple weeks older, but Mike's fast. Mike got speed. Mike's going to whoop Ottman's ass. Mike going to knock him out. Mike going to be too quick for him, too nasty for him. He going to have too much good, too movement, Huh? So Mike at 41 is all of a sudden this fucking physical phenom, where Cub at 41 is just falling the fuck off, on his way out, and might get knocked the fuck out by Billy Q. Come on, man. One thing has nothing to do with the other, but it's all worth consideration, I guess, man. You know what I mean? I like Ottman, man. Not to say that Mike won't go out there and land that clean 1-2 right down the fucking pipe and put out his lights. I'm not saying that. I'm not shitting on Mike. I said Mike's solid. Mike's well-rounded. You know what I'm talking about? Mike's proven that Mike can be dangerous. It's been a while, but he's proven it. You understand what I'm saying to you? And, that 1-2 is there. The kicks are there. You know what I mean? The speed. I believe he's probably always had a speed advantage on somebody like Ottman, so that speed is probably still there for what it's worth. I believe it's going to be a fight to the finish. I believe Ottman could, lock up a takedown, dump Mike on his motherfucking head, and get to producing a body of work down there. Possibly, put putting him in a compromisable position by doing so and sinking into submission as he's been submitted quite a few more times and he's been knocked out. He's been submitted. I think the most finishes he's got as far as him being finished is him being submitted, not just in the UFC, in his career period. You know what I'm talking about? But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I can dig it, but I'm still rocking with Ottman. You know what I'm talking about? And we can talk about Cub and Billy real quick, man. Billy looked good, man. Billy looked fucking good on his scales. Billy looked massive at the face-offs. Billy looked ready to rock with that shitty grin on his face like, I'm ready to eat, motherfucker, let's go. I know what kind of fight you gonna bring me. I've been preparing for that shit. Let's fucking go. Let's go to war. And I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to catch Clip and disconnect Cub. I wouldn't be surprised if Cub caught Clip and disconnected him, but what really wouldn't surprise me is if in some way, shape, form, or fashion they found themselves entangled in a wrestling or grappling engagement or just in close and Cub was able to motherfucking lock something up, pull guard, and sink in his submission. He's vicious. He's vicious. He's dangerous everywhere, man. I can see Billy Q winning the decision, and I can see Billy Q winning inside the distance via KO, TKO, or, you know, from clipping and disconnecting. I can see Cub winning the decision. I can see Cub winning via KO, TKO, you know, inside the distance from clipping him, from club and sub. I can see the submission, or from just, you know, a wrestling, grappling engagement. I can see the submission. You know what I'm talking about for Cub. So I can still, you know, it's still a bit more routes to victory that I can see for Cub, but it's a dangerous fight, man. It is a dangerous fight, and I have properly prepared myself on multiple parlays for being on the wrong side of the pick, you know what I mean? I racked up, as I normally do, my favorites parlays with all the favorites and shit earlier, you know what I mean? Mad early bird shit, because then the dogs, they just keep getting better and better dog tags. I can go swap out and apply them swap out options later on in the motherfucking week. You feel what I'm saying to you? And just put light sprinkles on them, as I don't have to go as crazy as I did on the y'all favorites, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. I have action on both sides for that fight, man. You know what I mean? I don't get why motherfuckers shit on Cub at 41 though and want to lift Mike up at 41. Like there's a fucking like there's a significant difference, man, for Mike and what he's been able to do. Put Mike and Cub in that motherfucker there later on tonight and see how that one shakes out. You know what I'm talking about? 41, OG. See how that one shakes out. You know what I'm talking about? And put motherfucking, put Ottman in there with Billy and see how that one shakes out. Put the younger two with the younger two and the older two with the older two, and let's see how that one shakes out. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. It's going down how it's going down, and I, for one, can't wait to see how it all plays the fuck out. You know what I mean? And where we at, man? Vitor and Jacoby, man. Vitor and Jacoby. Vitor looked like he was ready to rock, didn't he? Right there. Jacoby looked like he was ready to go too, man. He looked like when they first got up there, you know, when they shook hands and was respectful, it was one look on Jacoby's face. And then it was a different look on his face when Vitor was kind of grinning and getting in close to him. And then that look from beginning kind of came back when Vitor shook his hand at the motherfucking end. He was like, oh, I guess he was just kind of like, yeah, let's fight. He couldn't understand what he was saying. He didn't know if that motherfucker was trying to rumble right now. What the fuck is going on here, man? And then he shook his hand. Oh, okay, all right. He was just talking that same shit. I'm over here thinking, all right, cool. He got a bit nervous up that motherfucker. He looked a bit nervous, man. I like Vitor, man. Vitor out that motherfucker looking like back in the day, 19-year-old Vitor Belfort. How Belfort used to look in the 20s, just absolutely fucking shredded and ready to fucking go, just dangerous. You know what I mean? So we shall see, man. We shall see. Sterling, Navajo, right? Sterling and Tacos. Brendan Allen's homie. Y'all know who I'm talking about. They both showed up. They both look good. Brendan Allen's homie probably looked the best I've ever seen him look as of yet at any weigh-in. You know what I'm talking about? For any fight, for any promotion. And that's a fucking fact. How that's going to factor in to be determined because I still think old boy can crack. I think Tuco gets cracked, and I think he's gonna go down. But again, to be determined, man. You know what I mean? Buckley and Colby, man. Buckley and Colby, man. This is where we find out how good Buckley really is for what it's worth, man. And how on the way out, Colby really is for what it's worth. You know what I'm talking about? Because, hey, yo, Zeus, that faggot shit you doing right now, we not gonna do it, man. We not gonna do it. The in and out, we not gonna do it, man. Just stay on out there. Because you going in, you going out, you coming in the front, you going out the back, you doing all types of nut shit. Let me put this down real quick. Come on, man. My bad, y'all. That popped me. He does that shit all fucking day when it's cold out and I'm home. Huh? It's in, it's out. It's in, it's out. That motherfucker come in the front and want to go out the back. Come back in the back and want to go out the front. Come back in here for a few minutes, look around, make sure he not missing nothing, make sure nobody not eating nothing, and then he want to go the fuck back out back. And he relentless. That motherfucker stand right here and stare you right in your fucking face. And then he'll go around you by the door and he'll do that annoying baby bitch ass little, man, you a damn near 90-pound purebred Siberian husky. You know what I'm talking about? Almost 6 years old and you want to sit here yelping? Don't yelp at me. That yelp annoys the fuck out of me. My bad. I apologize. That momentarily popped me, man. See these two? That's what time it is right now. It's relaxed time, man. And this dude, he want to come in and make sure he not... Listen, earlier, I had chicken sausages, right? I tossed the chicken sausages in the air fryer. You know what I'm talking about? I'm scrambling up the eggs. He must have smelt that. You know what I mean? Old boy want to come in here. I sit down right here. You know what I'm talking about? I'm eating. You know what I mean? Standing right there staring at me. These two sitting up, staring at me, just waiting for their little piece. You know what I mean? They got it. You know they got it. You know what I'm talking about? Soon as I was done, I'm talking about as soon as I picked my plate up, went out there, got rid of everything, came back out here, sat down, I ain't had nothing on me. That motherfucker got up, went right back to the door. He wanted to go right back outside. I smoked them scrambles. I smoked that chicken sausage. That shit gone. Put me back outside, man. Raggedy motherfucker, man. That's my baby, though. Colby and Buckley, man. Colby and Buckley, man. To be determined, man. I feel like if Buckley cracks Colby, I mean, it's going to be too much. I feel like right now, if he hits Colby anywhere in, possibly anywhere in them 25 minutes, but anywhere in them 15 minutes, if he cracks Colby, that could be it, man. That could be it. Now, if Colby comes out there and goes wrestle heavy from the door, you know what I mean? Like when he was sharing the motherfucking a room with Jorge Masvidal, all those videos. If he comes in there and just goes wrestle heavy like that, just chains everything together, like we know he can do for the first two, shit could be different. He could be up 2 rounds. If he does it for the first 2 and he sinks up another one in the, he could be up 3 rounds to nothing going into the 4th round, going into championship rounds, which is what I believe Colby wants to do, because that's where he can drown him at. That's to be determined, but that's the deep end he's talking about. When you talking about drowning somebody in these main events, taking them into the deep end, that's the deep end. That 4th and 5th round, that's the deep end. And the only way you intend on drowning them in the deep end is by implementing that heavy wrestling and implementing a heavy game plan that's gonna just heavily tax that gas tank, those muscles, just slow everything down as far as punches, everything, the power, just take everything away from him, man. So that when you get him into that deep water, in the deep end, 19 minutes in at the end of the 4th, 22, 23 minutes in going in, mid through the 5th, they break. You know what I mean? It's not even that. They don't even want to hold the arm. They don't even want to defend nothing no more. They've been defending for too fucking long. They just break. They just break, they crumble, they fold up, and they take what's coming until the motherfucking ref pulls them off where they get submitted. And they don't tap and they choke out or they tap. You know what I mean? Colby's looking to do that to this young man. You see they posted this stat when Colby shoots, locks up 3 or 4 more when Colby locks up more than 3 takedowns or 4 he's 9-0. When he shoots for less than or is unable to secure less than, he's like 3-4 or something like that. Boy got Chael Sonnen in there. Ever since I see Chael Sonnen sitting in his corner, everything about that just brings me back to Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva 1, where he beat Anderson Silva round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, and almost all of round 5 before Anderson Silva locked that shit up. What if Colby beats the shit out of this man for all 5 rounds because he's unable to find the finish, or he beats the shit out of this man until he crumbles and breaks him and he finds the finish? It's a main event. There's question marks. How really good is Buckley? And how good really is his all-around body of work, his wrestling, his grappling, offensive and defensively, man? Wonder Boy is a good win, but it's Wonder Boy, you know? It's what people will say about Billy Q if Billy Q beats Cub. It's Cub. He's 41 years old. It was Wonder Boy. He was 42 years old. You know what I'm talking about? Like, people just don't... the name doesn't hold the same weight, so while beating Wonder Boy is a good win, but now you gonna get in my face and bark at me? Now she wanna bark at me. These motherfuckers ain't shit. While beating them is a good win, it don't hold the same weight no more based off the timeline. You dig me? You got to hold on a second. Ray, you ain't shit. Yeah, it don't mean the same based off the timeline though. It just don't mean the same. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson don't hold the same weight that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson held 6-7 years ago. You know what I'm talking about? And that alone says enough for you. I'm saying 6-7 years ago. That lets you know his best days were, you know, they're already behind him, man. And he should be with his brother-in-law on the sidelines somewhere, just coaching or something, him and Chris Weidman. Because this ain't it for him no more. You know what I'm talking about? My apologies for the brief intermission. It's sending out for these motherfuckers when it's cold like this, man. But, you know, let them live their best life, man. Fuck it. You know what I'm talking about? That's why these blankets is on the couch right now. Ain't gonna be jumping they fucking dirty paws all up on my shit, man. You know what I'm talking about? Fucking my leather up all crazy. Fuck out of here, man. But, yeah. Tread lightly, man. If Buckley cracks him early, because he, you know, doesn't get taken down, if this fight stays upright and he cracks him early, he should be able to get the job done, man. I can see him cracking him. I can see him clubbing, subbing Colby. You know what I mean? If Colby finds himself in any kind of survival mode where his neck is out there and his head is in a position to get snatched up, I wouldn't be surprised if Buckley snatched that up and really try to fuck motherfuckers' heads up. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't be surprised if Colby dragged this shit out either, man. To be fucking determined, man. To be determined. It's going to be a lot of good bangers on here, man. My baby Joe Alvarez, I think they posted something like Jakar Close is 18 or 19 or some not, you know, some light number, nothing crazy, away from significant, or away from clinch strike record or something like that. I guess Nate Diaz holds the clinch strike record, and Jakar Close is a few strikes away from that clinch strike record, tying it or possibly beating it. Joe Alvarez is the individual you want to get into in close, trying to land clinch strikes and trying to, you know, crash that record against. Boy, oh boy, are you going to get fucked up. You going to get finished in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And in this matchup anyway, in my personal opinion, Jakar Close, trying to get in close and break that clinch strike record, that might really get you fucking hurt. Really fucking quick. You know what I mean? I can't wait for that one. That one's going to be a good one, man. I know I'm missing some shit. Who the fuck am I missing, man? We talked about Josephine, right? And then we talked about Jamie Lynn and Miranda. We talked about Miles and Philippe, right? We talked about Davy and Ramon. You know what I mean? We talked about Manel and fucking Bruno. We talked about Ottman and motherfucking Mike. Then we talked about Cub and motherfucking Billy Q. We talked about Vitor and Dustin. You know what I'm talking about? And we talked about Kobe and Buckley. We talked about Sterling and Tuco Taco, Brandon Allen's boy, however you say his motherfucking name. Who am I missing? Because it's 3 more fights, man. Why am I tripping right now, man? What the fuck am I missing? What am I missing? That main card. That main card, that was the main event. That was the co-main event. That was the co-main event. And then Sterling's up on the main card now, so that was that. And the main card opener. What's the main card opener? Why am I motherfucking missing something? God damn. What the fuck am I missing, man? Fucking Marcos and Adrian. Marcos look good, man. We talked about Jakar and Joel. You know what I mean? And Sean and Fernando. It was motherfucking Marcos and Adrian. It's the only one I was missing. I just didn't count them all on my motherfucking fingers when I was going over them. I still like Daniel, man. I still like Daniel. I think Marcos gets this one done 2 rounds to 1, man. He looked solid. He looked, you know, dialed in. He didn't look depleted, dehydrated, too crazy. You know, Adrian looked like it hurt him a little bit, but when he showed up later on for the ceremonial weigh-ins, he ain't look too bad. You know what I'm talking about? So, it is what it is, man. I like Miles, man. I like Miles, so tread lightly. The pick's Philippe, you feel me? We don't pick switch. We just properly prepare for being on the wrong side of that shit. And that's what I've done with this, man, because I like Miles, man. And I like Miles to possibly find that finish. Stay away from Jamie Lynn and Miranda because something about Jamie Lynn, man. Maybe Miranda goes out here and just does what she does, man. And, you know, hopefully so. Because I parlayed her up in a favorites parlay early in the week when she wasn't that crazy. You know what I mean? But hopefully so. I like Sean. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is. I got Fernando on a couple joints, but not as many as I got Sean on. I ain't even gonna hold you. Not a whole lot of action on that fight, but I do have, you know, I do have a bit of action on that fight, man. I like Joel. I like Manel. Tread lightly on Davy and Raymond, man. I'm fucking telling you to tread lightly on Davy and Raymond. Something about that fight. Somebody's going night-night. You know what I'm talking about? And I don't know who the fuck it's gonna be. I like Sterling. Leave Knudsen and Rodriguez the fuck alone. You know what I'm talking about? Because something's not sitting right with me. Something's not sitting right with me when it comes to these women's fights and when it comes to this motherfucking Davy and Raymond fight. Something is not sitting right, man. It's just not sitting right, man. It is not sitting right at all. I like Sean. I like Joel. I like Sterling. You know what I'm talking about? And Sean's money line, because Sterling and Joel's money lines, that's out of control. Sean's money line, being as closely lined as it is, brings those 2 crazy priced individuals. When you put them with him, it brings them to a decent plus money number. So I like them 3 on the prelims. You know what I mean? Post weigh-in, post face-off, post all that. I like Miles too. But when we talk about favorites, because I don't want motherfuckers getting all uncomfortable and shit. The Sean pick might already make you uncomfortable. Oh, and Manel, my bad, Manel. You know what I mean? Manel, I forgot all about Manel. So we can rock with Sterling, we can rock with Manel, we can rock with Joel. Those 3 probably come to something stupid like minus 148 or something, you know what I mean? And then we toss Sean in there, and that's going to get us to that plus money number. Hopefully, at least 2 times our money. I don't know right now because I'm not looking at anything where I can calculate that up. But post weigh-in, I like Sterling. I like Joel. I like Manel. I like Sean. And I like Miles as a dog play. I like Jamie Lynn as a dog play. You know what I'm talking about? Raymond and Rodriguez, that Raymond and Davey and Rodriguez and Knudsen, man, that shit just, I don't know what the fuck to do with that shit. So too many question marks. It's unsettling right now. You know what I mean? Marcos, I like Marcos, man. You know what I'm talking about? I like Marcos. I like Vitor. It's fucked up. Billy look good, man. I can get behind Billy. I like Ottman, man. You know what I'm talking about? And they both look good for that main event, man. We gonna find out how good Buckley really is. To be determined. Mandatory swap out option. In my personal opinion, post weigh-in, personal opinion, how I'm feeling on the situation. You know what I mean? I can lock you up. I can lock you up 6 favorites. I can lock you up 6 favorites, man. You know what I mean? I can't give you the plus money number on them right now. I'll tap back in the comments section if somebody hasn't already done it by the time I do it, and I'll place it there. But I can give you 6 favorites that I like, man. You know what I'm talking about? Post-weigh-in favorites that I like, and post-weigh-in and face-off favorites that I like. You know what I'm talking about? And that's Joel Alvarez. That's Navajo Sterling. That's Manel Kopp. And that's Sean Woodson from the prelims. That's Daniel Marcos. And that's Vitor Petrino from the main card. You know what I'm talking about? And I can get behind, you know, that's who I like. That's who I'm confident in. You know what I mean? That's who I'm confident in. I can get behind Billy. I can get behind Buckley. But I feel like the swap out option is absolutely necessary for those 2 legs, Billy and Buckley. If they're your 7th and 8th leg, the swap out option should be applied. It could go Billy and Covington. You know what I'm saying? It could go Billy and Buckley. It could go Billy and Covington. It could go Cub and Covington and Cub and Buckley. Jesus. Ottman, I like him. But it could go any which way. You know what I'm talking about? So while my picks are what my picks are, this is post-weigh-in, face-off, personal opinion, how I'm feeling, you know, without any gut-wrenching, you know, trying to pull me and play tug-of-war with me. I like Sterling. I like Navajo Sterling. I like Joel Alvarez. I'm talking about I like Manel Kopp and I like Sean Woodson. I like Daniel Marcos and I like Vitor Petrino. You understand what I'm saying to you? I like Miles Johns as a dog, but he's at plus 205. So if you don't want to be greedy and you're all right with something light, just drop something on that plus 205 or apply him as an extra leg. And then, you know, do the swap out option. Like if you like Philippe, and you want to add Philippe, you add Philippe. But I feel like the swap out option should be applied in Philippe versus Miles. You know what I'm talking about? It should be applied in Davey versus Raymond. It should be applied in Miranda versus Jamie Lynn. You know what I'm talking about? It should be applied in Rodriguez versus Knudsen. It should be applied in Michael versus Ottman. It should be applied in Cub versus Billy. And it should be applied in Covington versus Buckley. So if you're looking for fights that I feel like the swap out option does not need to be applied and you just want to rock and ride with that, I got 6 legs, man. I got 6 legs. And everything else, I feel the way I feel. You know what I'm talking about? So it is what it is. I know I done hit 20%. I know I done hit 10%. And when I hit 5%, it might just stop on me. Or it might keep rocking and let that motherfucker go off. I already might have hit 5%. Maybe it's going to go off. If that happens, best of luck with any and all bets and parlays and peace and blessings. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm ready to fire this motherfucker up and keep running my mouth, man, for what it's worth, man. And, yeah, that's it. I got 6. I got 6, man. Post weigh-in, face-off, confident picks, I got 6. To be determined, but I got 6. That I'm solid, rolling the dice with on something significant. You know what I'm talking about? I got my sprinkles in. I got my other early birds and all that in. But this post weigh-in, post face-off, confident picks, this 6, I'm great. I'm finna drop something heavy on. And we're gonna see what the dice lay. And I'm also gonna apply sprinkling a little bit lighter, you know, some 7 and 8 leggers that have, you know, Miles as a 7th leg, and you know, Miles and Billy as a 7th and 8th leg, and then maybe Billy and Buckley as a 7th and 8th leg. To be determined. We'll see. I'll tap back in a short little clip and let y'all know. But those six are a go. In my personal opinion, them motherfuckers got the green light, man. You know what I'm talking about? It's 4 on the prelim. Well, they've readjusted the card from my lineup, because Sterling is on the main card now. Michael and Ottman is on the prelims. The rest is the same. So, my bad. On the prelims, I got Joel, Manel, yeah, well, that fight wasn't even in my shit anyway for my motherfucking confidence. So it's just the fact that Sterling is on the main card. So on the prelims, I got 3. And on the main card, I got 3. You understand what I'm saying to you? So that's my bad. I thought it was 4 on the prelims because this is the lineup I had from way back. That shit's changed now. You know what I mean? This lineup had Miles and Philippe, the first fight of the night. Now I believe Knudsen and Rodriguez are the first fight of the night. And this one had Rodriguez and Knudsen capping off the prelims. And I believe now Michael and Ottman are capping off the prelims. So that's my bad. That's the only confusion. You know what I'm talking about? That was the only misspeak. If I'm not mistaken, it's 3 on the prelims and 3 on the main card. So on the prelims, it's Joel Alvarez, Manel Kopp, and Sean Woodson. You know what I'm talking about? And on the main card, it's Navajo Sterling, Daniel Marcos, and Vitor Petrino. You know what I mean? Miles is still on the, Miles and Philippe are still on the prelims, right? Yeah. So, yeah. So that's still a dog on the prelims that I do now, post weigh-in, post face-offs, post tapping into all social medias and seeing where both individuals are at mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, in their personal lives. Miles is the side, in my personal opinion, to be determined. We not pick switching, but Miles is the side, in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? If we had to do a pick switch, 13 fight pick, this is what it would look like. Miles over Philippe and Jamie Lynn over Miranda. Sean over Fernando, Joel over Jakar, Manel over Bruno, and Davey over Raymond. Sterling over Tukos, and Rodriguez over Knudsen. Daniel over Adrian. Ottman over Michael. Billy over Cub. Vitor over Dustin. And Kobe over Buckley. Ew. You know I'm going to put that in on the Bet Rivers app. All 13 legs, just like that, for $13, and see what it come back as, and see where the dice lay. Ew. If that motherfucker smacks, y'all going to tap back in and say, bro, I hope you put that bitch in, and I'm going to tap back in and say, peep the next video it's fitting to be uploaded, because I'm putting that bitch in as soon as I tap out from this video. Mark my motherfucking words. Fuck it, man. 13 legs for $13 on some what if shit on fight day? Because what if that bitch hits on fight day? What if Miles beats Philippe? What if Jamie Lynn beats Miranda? Sean beats Fernando, Joel beats Jakar, Manel beats Bruno, Davey beats Raymond, Sterling beats Tuco, Rodriguez beats Knudsen, Daniel beats Adrian, Ottman beats Michael, Billy beats Cub, Vitor beats Dustin, and Kobe drags Buckley out. Huh? $13 on those 13 legs. Gotta smack crazy just based off the fact that Jamie Lynn's a +4 something. You know what I'm talking about? And Miles is a +2 something. Ottman's a +180. Davies pretty much an even money fight. And Kobe's a underdog. So Kobe as a dog, Ottman as a dog, Jamie Lynn and Miles as dogs, Davey as a pick'em. Boy, oh boy. That's just a what if type situation. That was, you know, if I was to pick switch some shit, that's what I would pick switch. I would probably pick switch post weigh-in. I would pick switch from Cub to Billy. I would possibly be pick switching from Buckley to Kobe. I would stay with Vitor over Dustin. I would switch to Billy over Cub. I would stay with Ottman over Mike. I would stay with Marcos over Yanez. I would switch to Rodriguez over Knudsen. Stay with Sterling over Tuco. Switch to Davey over Raymond. Stay with Manel over Bruno. Stay with Joel over Jakar. Stay with Sean over Fernando. Switch to Jamie Lynn over Miranda and Miles over Philippe. Now, while I'll put $13 on those 13, I'll also put $11 on the 11 men without the females. So that would mean Miles would have to cash as a dog. Ottman and Kobe would have to cash as dogs. There would be no women involved. There would be no Rodriguez. There would be no Jamie Lynn because there would be no Miranda and there would be no Knudsen. You know what I'm talking about? So that would be Kobe, Vitor, Billy, Ottman, Marcos, Sterling, Davey, Cop, Alvarez, Woodson, and Miles Johns. I'm going to put $11 on those 11 too and see where that motherfucker fall at the end of the night. You know what I mean? But listen, that's how I feel, man. UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Buckley, 13 fight card, taking place in an arena I don't know how to pronounce, but it's going down in Tampa, Florida, man. This is the last fight night of the motherfucking year. Hopefully we'll all be able to get to a bag in some way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it's a prelim, main card, whole card, haymaker, Hail Mary, dog plays. Maybe we smacking on all cylinders later on today. You know what I'm talking about? But let's get after it, man. You know what I mean? Let's get after it. Let's have a good day. Let's follow it up with a good Sunday with some good NFL plays, man. We went motherfucking 5 for 5 on week 13 and 10 for 10 on week 13. Then smacked on multiple parlays again on week 14. Incoming's gonna be the week 15 plays of the week for NFL, man. And we fitting to get after that too, man. We gonna secure these bags in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And let that be that with that. Ain't too much more to chop it up about, man. I wish there was, but it just ain't, man. You know what I'm talking about? That's that with that. That's how I feel about that. That's what it looked like if I wanted to swap out that. And, you know what I mean? Not much else to say, man. I'll tap back in via a few, light little 16 or 60-second clips, just probably from the casino or en route while I'm putting in some last-minute parlays, and, we'll go from there, man. You know what I mean? I appreciate y'all for tapping in, and, peace and blessings, man.